Welcome. I am Troy Skinner, your host, and this is
Antonio Dean, co-host.
Okay. And tonight we are definitely getting into some nitty gritty on some things. Specifically, like I said, dealing with relationships in the Black community. What's going on? Sorry for the delay, guys, but we are up and running, and we definitely will be taking some interactive calls tonight. And we are definitely interested in knowing what you think. So this topic tonight is primarily based on what's been going on in the world. You know, you have a lot of people coming out doing podcast shows and doing their own streaming platforms and talking about relationships and giving their perspective in regards to what great relationships are and what bad relationships are. The word toxic flies around like it's the main word to use for everything. You know, sometimes relationships aren't toxic. There's just a communication issue in regards to men and women, or if it's man, woman. You know, we're not going to exclude anybody in this conversation tonight, but we are specifically talking about the Black male and female in regards to our relationships in the Black community. So without further ado, if at any time, please, we're definitely going to be taking calls, and you can definitely hit us up on the live. But as of right now, we are just going to be giving our presentation in regards to what has brought us to this point. Okay, so what's in the news mostly, and we're going to be talking about this again on Thursday, just a little bit more in depth. But today, I just wanted to jump in just a little bit to give a little dissertation about it. When everyone sees this here is the depiction of what it is to be a strong Black modern woman.
And for those on Instagram, this is just I guess a screenshot, yeah?
Yeah.
Screenshot of the Woman King
That's
movie.
Fine. There we go. You can see it right there. I'll pinch and pull so you can check it out. Okay, because it's important that you understand how we got to this point.
Yeah, the knob should be loose. You can move it.
It's very important that you understand how we as a community got to this point. What brought us here, okay, to this, okay? So if you look at this photo, all right, these women look very, very hard, man. I mean, yeah, of course, the homie tribe, if you know anything about them, they were fierce warriors. We're not taking anything away from that. They were also the foundation of the Dora Milaje and the Black Panther movies and the Marvel films. Okay, so the question would be, what is wrong with this? What is wrong with this, right? That would be the question. That's what people are going to ask. What is wrong with this? What's wrong with
the image and the depiction?
Yeah.
Of our Black women in this feature film. I wouldn't say what's wrong with it. I would just say let's offer some perspective and comparisons to, or as to what the rest of the world is actually receiving.
Yeah. So, but that's what I mean by when Black women would be like, "What's wrong with that? I don't see nothing wrong with that. They're strong, melanated, beautiful Black women,
right? Strong
and fierce, right?" So their question would be, "What is wrong with that?" I'm not asking what's wrong with it, because would I be attracted to some woman coming home like that at night? No, I wouldn't.
A war fighter?
No, I wouldn't. and trust me, listen, I love strong women. My mom's a strong woman. She raised 5 young boys in the projects.
Right.
And a lot of the women that I dated were very strong women. I never have a problem with an independent woman in the sense of she can get up and, you know, make some money and pay the bills and stuff. You want that. You want someone who can handle the throne.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah.
But not independent. There's no such thing as independence.
Yeah, you want that, right? You want someone to be able, if I'm incapacitated, they can come and take over.
They know what to do.
They know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is very important.
Yeah. Charge the ramparts, you know? Get the soldiers ready. Yeah, okay. The king is down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I want. I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? But do I want this coming home at night? No, I don't want that.
Why is that?
Well, shit, man, I might as well be with a brother. I mean, look at this, man. She coming home, you know, listen, I've been in physical fitness for many, many years in the gym and stuff. And I know guys that like hard women. But they're still a little soft in the face, though. Right. They're not walking around with a permanent frown like this, like, you know. And granted, most people would be like, well, you haven't seen the movie. They're humanized and blah, 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 blah. Okay, we'll get into all of that. But
even also to that, I mean, to be fair, and I'm never playing devil's advocate, but I also believe that perspective is very important. These are war fighters. This is not the average woman of any race at all.
Right.
This is not average.
But and to help people have a little information on it, this is why the white writers that wrote it used them, because that doesn't exist. All female bands of fighters does not exist in European cultures
at all.
You had some females who were Valkyries and considered to be Viking females. You had some, but a whole army or a whole
even unit? Vikings were a complete subset of European culture in general.
Right. So you didn't have this, but this is why they used them, because when we get to it, we start to understand this. And once you start to realize why we are where we are at today, there was this here. If you're watching right now, you should be able to see a picture of Gloria Steinem, the biggest feminist in the history of man, and Angela Davis. Now, mind you, Gloria Steinem came and got Angela Davis to be a part of her movement, the feminist movement. Okay? So when you talk about the feminist movement, and we already got people hitting up. Yeah, the traditional defender. Where are the men? Right, absolutely. Janessa said, whoa. Yeah, I'm going in tonight. We're going in tonight, Janessa. We're going in. You know, I put work into the research and to the facts. So hello to everybody that's in. Make sure you subscribe and tell everybody else. Let them know that we're going in on Instagram and on YouTube, that we are talking about some stuff that's near and dear to what everybody is wondering about in regards to reality of relationships and why they're where they're at. This photo right here, mind you, the black woman's plight was not the white woman's plight. Okay?
Never was.
No.
Historically,
no. They weren't. You know, black women weren't fighting for the same things that white women were fighting for. They weren't fighting for that. They just wanted to make sure their kids ate, their husbands were fed. They wanted to make sure they were okay. They wanted to make sure they were included in things.
Right.
There wasn't when you look at the culture at that time, because this photo here is in the 70s, late 60s going into the 70s. When you look at this photo of this time, there were a lot of movements happening, and the feminist movement came in, and then you had a white woman tell a black woman, you don't need no man. You don't need no man. Okay? That's what's going on.
Even though historically they shared, maybe not shared, but they were given the opportunity to serve alongside their men in the hierarchy such as slavery and dealing with the common people from their higher positions.
Well,
they were never actually really under the thumb of their men.
Well, listen, you're talking about white women.
White women.
Yeah, of course.
Let's be clear about that. White women.
Of course. Absolutely.
And that's where chivalry came from under the modern patriarchy. And when I say modern, I mean over the last few hundred years. Chivalry is really a compromise between white men and white women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So listen, when it came to the Dohemy, if you do any research, because people are asking why is everybody going in on the film, that's a story in itself. But their units were built up because there was a lack of men.
Right.
Okay. If you look anything in the history of it, a lot of the men got killed in the constant warring that they were doing, where they were going in and getting slaves from other tribes and killing people, and it's horrible. And so they needed more people to step up, and obviously, there's more women to men, the ratio, always.
Right.
Okay, always been like that in time. So back to this, when we look at this and we say, okay, how did we get here? How did we get to this point what happened in the Black community to where Black women felt like they needed to raise a fist and say, we don't need them. And besides, this fist here is also an ode to Saturn. If you look up the fist, the raised fist in the hermeneutics, the hermeneutic religions, this is a raised fist for Saturn, the color black. So when you see people wear a black glove over a fist, they're saluting Saturn. So this was more than just a fist of power, because remember, we had the Black Power, we had the raised fist, we had the Black Panthers, we had people who during the Olympics in Nazi Germany raised the fist.
Correct.
Okay, we had all of that happening, but there's a deeper message to it. You can do your research and look it up and see that the raised fist is also a thing that pertains to Saturn. Saturn, the worship of Saturn. People still do that to this day. So how do we get to this point? Let's look at some things, all right? And before we even get to that, because I want to get back to how we got to this point. When we say we look at women and we say, okay, well, you know, a lot of women will say, what's wrong with this? Child, what's wrong? I don't see nothing wrong with you. You got some beautiful, strong, liberated, powerful Black women. But like I said, what man want to see this come home? Honestly. Now, when you look at, they were Amazons, right? And so that nickname was given to them by one of the people who went over there and saw them and like, oh, they're modern day Amazons at that time. The Amazons are based on the Greek mythology of this character. Now,
to be Athena.
Yes, the Athena. So now look at the difference in the femininity of how European women depict strong women, okay? European women, compared to how they depict Black women. Now this is deep. This has been on my mind since we decided we were going to do this show. Because we'll bring it full circle so you'll understand how we get to the point of the relationships between Black men and Black women being so strained and being so hard up, okay? So look at this here, and then look at Wonder Woman, okay? There's still, you know, when you see Wonder Woman, her hair is being blown. Everything is still feminine. There's still a femininity to it. But then the point would be brought up, well, Black women, we're stronger. What does that have to do with looking rougher?
Well, I think also the thing in all popular media, the way that they like to depict those who are in Africa or from Africa is typically very rugged.
Yeah.
You know, they still like to sell the viewpoint that we're lesser civilized beings, that we have no infrastructure, and you know that's basically, this is an amalgamation of all of those twisted ideals.
Yeah, and so
which is just a smearing of our history and our existence.
Yeah, well, because the thing is that you got to remember the Queen of Sheba was one of the most beautiful women on the planet, and she messed up King Solomon's head. He was so jacked up he had to get 1,000 women to replace her. He was so messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see that movie. I want to see that movie. I want to see her all dressed up in her fine garb.
A woman using all of her
lures,
God-given strengths and abilities.
Yes, that's what I want to see. I want to see a Black woman, Queen of Sheba. Take
femininity to its full extent and extreme.
Yes, and she was a strong
powerful.
queen. She was
very powerful.
It's very powerful.
It's balanced. It's balanced in nature.
Mm-hmm. So when we say, okay, well, Choice, you're reaching, like this is just, Wonder Woman, of course, Wonder Woman. All right, well, look at Celine. That's sexy. That's feminine.
It's definitely not sexy, but I see their attempt.
I find that highly sexy.
I see their attempt to be feminist.
Yeah,
she's not attractive.
Well, she's high. Look, let me tell you something. I don't really get it too much into the, Caucasian women, but Kate Beckinsale can get it. I mean,
I'm gonna have to disagree.
Yeah, that's fine. This is like perspectives. This is our form. But
this is an ugly white bitch. If I'm being
I
honest
love
with
me
you.
some Celine. I think she's sexy as hell. She can kill me anytime. And then when they said, okay, well, we want to upgrade her, look, they put streaks in her hair and they kept her sexy still.
That's a better looking white woman than.
That's the same one.
Is it the same bitch?
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah,
She's got
blonde streaks in it. You know what I'm saying? So, but you understand my point.
Yeah, I get the point.
Get my point.
I'm not going. Number one, I'm never going to publicly praise white women. There's that too. But
yeah, I just believe beauty is beauty. Even if you're not into it, you can recognize.
I'm not a hater. I can admit when anyone is attractive.
Oh yeah,
this white bitch is not attractive. Go ahead.
Okay, so with that being said, we're moving on. So how do we get here? Here in the 50s, this was a couple, a black couple in the 50s, married black couple. You see the brother there, he's decked to the nine. She's wearing a beautiful dress. And I'm not saying that this is what we have to do in order to get back to who we need to be as a culture. That's not what I'm saying. I'm using this as an example of that black love, of there was something there, right?
Right.
There was a thing of we need each other. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got people checking in. So
yeah, I've got a few questions as well.
The problem is aesthetic. No, I don't think it's aesthetic.
Well, it is the aesthetic that's being presented. That is a problem.
Somewhat. I'll agree with you on that. I'll do a Queen of Sheba. Yes, Janessa, you definitely can do a Queen of Sheba. But anyway, again, here we are, black couple in the 50s. Okay. Black couple in the 50s. All right. If you know anything about the 50s, it was considered the nuclear family. That's what you hear a lot of times.
Right.
That's what you hear Black Lives Matter saying they want to dismantle the nuclear family. They don't want the fathers in the home. The government's the same way. They don't want the fathers in the home. They don't want the involvement of the patriarchy. They want it all matriarchy. Okay.
Right.
So when we look at this, the man was home. He was doing what he was supposed to do. Female was there. She was right along with him. Okay. At that time, the thing that was sold mostly was the American dream. Everybody could have a piece of the American dream.
Right.
We also had a major migration from the South to the North and to the East Coast and to the West Coast of Black people for opportunity. So Black people, of course, they had to still deal with the racism.
They wanted to get away from the Confederate hierarchy.
Absolutely. And the racism of the South. And there were opportunities because you always had people migrating to those different areas. Detroit, Philly, Los Angeles, West Coast, California. That's why when you see certain people in different areas other than the South, they still have a strong...
They sound like they're from the South.
They sound like from the South.
My family's from the
Your
South.
Your family's from there?
I don't sound like it unless I'm talking to like my dad or something.
Mm-hmm. Fall back into it?
Yeah, it sound like we're from South Carolina or something. It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my great-grandmama was from Texas. And so when you see the migration, this was a major time when that was happening. And look, they got their phono player. They're probably proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, they should be.
Playing their Louis Armstrong and the good music back
Being
in the days.
able to wear comfortable clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, which some people may not feel as comfortable nowadays, but to us, it's...
Well, I mean, for them, coming from,
sharecropper clothes. Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Mm-hmm. Raggedy clothes, yeah. So we moved from the 50s to the 60s, okay? Now, you can see a considerable difference. And I didn't pick this picture for a specific purpose. A lot of these photos, when I was going through them, were just like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's different here? What's going on? What's happening?
My grandparents have a similar picture.
A similar one?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine too. What's going on? Well, it was the times. The 60s was a very tumultuous time.
Yeah.
Civil rights movement. You had Black men.
I don't believe Black people were ever any more stressed other than slavery.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think that Black people were ever any more stressed out than the 60s. Because now you're fighting to be accepted where the law states that you're good to go. However, the people, the white people, let's be clear, are not willing to go along with what the law says.
Mm-hmm.
Think about in the movie Life, Claude trying to go ahead and get that slice of nigga pie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
that sums up that entire reality for that time period.
Yeah. You can look in his face mostly, primarily. Okay, not saying that she escaped any of the drama or the trauma, but I picked this photo because you can look at the stress, and remember, men, when we stress, we gain weight as well,
right?
Because of the isotope levels in our body, and so you start to see a lot of photos like this in the 60s. It tapers off a little in the 70s. And the reason why it tapers off in the 70s is because Black men were using drugs,
right.
One, and then number two, they weren't eating as well.
Well, they were also that's because this is like the height of the mafia culture, height of the gangster culture, height of the
pimp culture, yeah,
that as well. But the height of fully chasing the American dream. If you guys are gonna make it impossible for us to get it legally, well, these are the avenues that we have to take, and those lifestyles are so much more impactful on just on your psyche and on your being.
Yeah. Well, we could see here of him dealing with probably a lot of hours, right? Working, a big family. Obviously he's still being taken care of. He's eating, but probably all he was doing was just going to work and coming home and eating.
Well, typically that was all they had time to do.
Pretty much. So you could see a huge difference from here to here.
Hit that.
Oh
yeah, for sure.
The only difference, he's not smiling where he is, right? But that smile, you can tell, isn't a true smile. Just from the energy of it, from the way he's doing it. It's like, it's a photo, let me smile.
They were probably, honestly, there's no telling what kind of event they may have been at. Because this isn't like a professional photo.
Yeah, of course not. This is
there's no telling what they were doing that day, man. Yeah. They could have been turned down on the fourth house they were trying to buy that day, or who knows what.
A question on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, you gotta pull that up.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Yeah, oh, okay. My God. My God. Block that person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, block that person.
I don't know how you do that, but I guess maybe that's this here.
Put it user and timeout, all of that, whatever you got to do.
Okay. Okay.
I'll do a whole show on that. I got it. That's a story.
Janessa, you're right. Your hair doesn't blow in the wind, and it doesn't have to. It doesn't. Trust me when I tell you, you don't have to. It don't have to at all, right? Okay, so let's get back to what we were doing. And thanks for letting us know that, Janessa. Okay, so back to here. When we look at this is the 60s, and now here's the 70s. Boom. Major considerable difference in that thing between the black male and black female dynamic as far as physicality. 90% of the photos that I saw online were like this. 90% of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was the one that I could pick they were the closest. Now you had some people who were younger who, the girl sitting on a boyfriend's lap.
And be clear, this is the blaxploitation era.
This is definitely, I'm going to get to that as well, because there was a different type of woman at that time. So when we talk about strong women, right, in the 70s, and we're going to come back to them in a second because we're going to explain more about why that's important to understand what happened in the 70s, why that's important. This is an example of black female strength and empowerment of the 70s. And I'm going to tell y'all, the first naked woman I ever saw was this woman right here.
Pam Grier.
Pam goddamn Grier. Foxy Brown. I was probably 8 years old. I don't know how my brother got me in the theater, but he took me in there to see it. This was the first naked woman, period, that I had ever saw. And after that, I ain't never been right, because I held women to this status and to this standard and to this, to this level. So let's look at this here, because we're going to go back to the 70s photo again. And then this here. Okay? See the difference? Huge difference. Yes, these women, their shoulders are out too, right? Look at the difference.
And outside of this depiction, the modern depiction today, the only other way that we're typically shown is, we're talking about like BAPS level.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
As animated and you know, unrealistic as possible.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that to Thursday because we have a topic that we're going to be talking about in the news, today's news, that's really, really interesting. But again, here we go. So we see this, and then we go back to this, right? Where did it go? Okay, yeah. To this. Okay. So when you see that, something has to click in your mind to understand, okay, it's more than just you watching a movie. It's more about you asking for something in regards to what's needed for the culture. Because if we're saying, all right, we're approaching the understanding of why we're where we're at. Okay, we're going to get into that, obviously, going into the second hour once we take calls and stuff. But when you start to understand that, you say to yourself, okay, what is all this about? What is that about? Like, why is it now when we see from here to here, this distance between couples like that? Okay, what happened? Okay, what happened? All right. Okay, Janessa, you said my mom has photos like that and she's high in all of them.
Okay. I mean, hey, you know, look, make me break out pictures of my grandfather. You know what I'm saying?
So
different time, man.
Yeah, totally different time.
But they're chasing, they're emulating culturally,
yes,
and professionally, so to speak, what they see their white counterparts getting away with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if this is, because we're talking about, again, mafia culture. Mm-hmm. Scarface is big at this time. You know, they wanted a piece of the pie, and they felt that if they couldn't just go and earn it respectfully, well, now we got to figure out how to take it the way that they're taking it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we say, okay, because we can't just be on the women. We just can't be on the women. This is today what women have to put up with. This is their options.
And to that, because we got a great question. Are y'all gonna, this is from Lay the Muse, are y'all gonna talk about video vixens, for example, Superhead? As in, what is it that Black women are most commonly promoted and celebrated for?
Well, I mean,
deviant behavior.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's a choice, isn't it? Listen.
Well, in the media, no. The media is still good. They're going to do what they want to do. Even if there was only one Black woman that was behaving in that manner, mm-hmm. if they can pinpoint that person, they're going to do that. Just like they do in the news when they go and find, you know, if there's some, maybe a McDonald's just got shot up or something in an area, they're going to go find the most ignorant Black person that they can find to showcase on the news.
Of course.
It's the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. With that being said, it's a thing of saying, it goes back to, it's what we always say, people have to have that accountability.
Correct.
And you're right, there's always, just like with these guys, they weren't all born and raised this way. These are what most of them did to get what they needed to get. Trust me, I've been in the music industry. I was in it for most of my life, and I saw cats that grew up in the Hamptons and ended up looking like thugs. It was like, well, wait a minute, he went to school. You know, he never, you know, and you would see those photos come out of these guys where you would see that, oh, okay, like Rick Ross, he was a corrections officer, you know what I mean? Or you would see Dr. Dre, and he was dancer. He had the slick back and he had the lips all glossed up, and you know.
Him and Tupac.
Yeah, right.
Him, Tupac, Money B. You know what I'm saying?
So what does that mean? I mean, you know, because I don't listen. I'm fair. I'm all about being fair. If this is what they got in their mind as an option, then now the music does go back to what you're saying. Okay, what type of women hang around these guys? Opportunists, right? Ones that feel like, all right, If this is the type of chick he like, I'm gonna get my whole body tatted up.
Well, let's be clear about that.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that they're saying, or why is it that they're choosing to go after or pursue being the type of women that these guys like? Because these guys have the most attention. They have the most resources.
And they got money. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they have the most resources.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
attention.
so
And
it doesn't. It's not illogical that this is what it has evolved into.
Mm-hmm.
Because they naturally have to go after, you know, they naturally have to go the hypergamous route.
Yes. Okay. So that's what I wanted to get to.
Even if it's,
well,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, you can't say as a woman, I'm strong. This represents me. I can do what I need to do. I don't need a man. Okay?
Because in a roundabout way that's implying discipline.
Yes. So we go back to what we say about accountability.
Correct.
So you can't say all of these things and then
settle,
get mad that this is your only option.
Settle and celebrate foolish, you know, men who are clearly imbalanced and not centered on their square. You know, when you defy manhood, and this is what you're raising, and you know, not necessarily to put the blame on anybody, but again, I'm saying we're looking at what things have evolved into from both sides. You know, it's unfortunate that either side has had to go this route, and this is their existence in the world. This is their image to the world collectively, and that negatively affects Black people who do have it together,
mm-hmm.
Black men and women, Black families. You know, it only, again, like I said, it only takes one young thug, one superhead for the world to see broadcasted on television, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then now that could be 1% of the Black community. But if that's all they're being shown on if that's all the world is being shown on television, now what are we dealing with? A Black family can't go to a restaurant without, you know, the restaurant owners having preconceived notions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, these niggas might try to steal dinner or whatever white people be thinking in their heads, you know.
Well, not just white people, because that's
not just white people, but I mean, you know,
fuck white people. Yeah. You know.
But the rest of the world in general, man, you know, especially when it comes to American Black people, you know, they can be very, very afraid of us, especially when they migrate here and they see how we're treated based on what's on television. Even when they meet us and see that an overwhelming majority of Black people are not like what is shown on television, they still don't want to associate with us because they don't want to receive that kind of treatment. They want easier lives. That's why they moved here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I know this is, you know, the exposing of this, the people be like, you're judging, but it's not so much a judgment call as it's a thing of you have to know where you're at in order to find out how to get to the next level without falling upward, right? Some people, we fall upward, right? Things don't ever get better. We just constantly fall upward, and then we complain about it while we're there. You know, it's just like, you know, the one thing that people have been saying about the Woman King is, well, if we don't go see this film, they're not going to make nothing else. Well, maybe they don't need to make anything else until they get the understanding of what we need. Stop making what you feel is best for us and listen to us on what we need. So don't just get it just because. It doesn't make any sense. And that's why I was showing all of those past things and the differences. Like, you know, Black women, I'm holding you guys accountable that you know, if you say you want a certain type of man, that you have to demand that. You have to demand that and then hold yourself accountable onto why we've come to this point, as well as men have to hold themselves accountable to the type of woman that they're going after. If you're going after that type of chick, the Cardi B's and stuff like that, you can only deal with the relationship as it's given to you. You cannot deal with that relationship on what you thought was good vibes in the beginning. All right. If you inseminate that woman, you inherit everything that comes with that. Okay? So black men, watch your seed. That's very important. Men in general, watch your seed. But white guys don't have to deal with it like black guys do. They don't have it the same way. They really don't. So you guys have to be mindful of that. No. So they have issues. Yeah, I agree.
Well, no,
the baby daddy stuff, but
because I was doing some research earlier. The statistics concerning the broken family construct are actually nearly equal between the black community and the white community. However, the white community's issues are not blasted on television. They're not blasted on social media. They're not made into movies and reality TV shows and the such, But it is almost equal. They're barely trailing within the 5% range. So
God bless.
But that's just to be, let's offer clarity.
Yeah, God bless anybody that gets caught up in stuff.
And that's because of their feminism.
Yeah.
White women are very serious about feminism.
Yeah. But black women have become very.
Well, they're supposed to. It's a victimized world, man.
Yeah. So I love when you speak about personal accountability. Listen, man, that's very important. All right, that's very accountability. Accountability is everything. I think where people it's something that I always say to people when I have conversation in my perspective, and that is a thing of I check myself before I say something to somebody else. I look at myself in the situation and say, okay, well, am I wrong in this? And if I am wrong, where am I wrong at? And I think, unfortunately, the black community is very good at blame shifting.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Blame shifting and blaming in regards to racism, that systematic racism and all of this, and everything is constructed and this and that and that and that. And I believe that there's a point where we have to say to ourselves, okay, all right, go back and do the research, understand where we're at. Now, what can we do to make the difference? Because that's what change your mind, change your thinking is all about. If your frame of thought is like, well, where we at, ain't nothing can be done about it, it is what it is, then that's what it's going to be. But if your frame of thought is, all right, how can a change happen? Well, it starts with each person personally. Gone are the days of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. To get back to that would be a total overhaul of the culture. Total overhaul. Okay, because we have to reframe the minds of people who feel like it's about me and I got to get what I got to get and screw the black community. Because there's a lot of, and listen, action and word go hand in hand. And when you see people do actions, that in itself tells you where their minds are at. All right. We're close to the 1 hour mark. If you got questions, we will definitely take some questions.
Please join the Instagram lives. Also, let's move that over so we can. Okay, now we can see some of the comments and such. But yeah, so please feel free, go ahead and request to join, offer your perspective on this. Was that confirmed? Martin Luther King cheated with white women?
He cheated with all kinds of women.
Well, I mean, I have my opinion on Martin Luther King to begin with, but
he cheated with all
I don't know if now is the time for me to get into that. Now, what was the matter of fact? There was a question originally. So, How do we feel about interracial dating? If people feel like dating our own has no hope, so kind of like the divesting culture and such.
Hello, Scott.
Scott.
Yo.
Welcome as always.
Yo. Salute to both of y'all. I'm eating right now, but I had to call in. There's a flag on the plate. Y'all are speeding right now. Y'all
Yeah, man.
The movie was incredible.
Okay.
I loved it.
Okay.
And I mean, y'all both have to understand
Mm-hmm.
how y'all are speaking right now.
Okay.
Because you were comparing a past relationship and you said, I love Strong.
Okay.
And then he said to you, he said, so so what's the problem? And you said to him, would you want to come home to that?
Mm-hmm.
So you're two men who are judging women based on their aesthetic. And peace to Nomadic, because Nomadic asked a question. He said, are we talking about their aesthetic?
No, we're not.
Because
that's why I said it wasn't aesthetic. Yeah, and that's why I said it wasn't.
Women based upon how they look is the reason why we need the woman king.
No.
The reason why we need the movie.
No. That's okay. So give me a second. So when I said it's not the aesthetics, because the aesthetics permeates the personality. It permeates the psychological thought process. It's just like you say something and you do something, they go hand in hand. Word and deed go hand in hand. So if I got a woman who's coming home who's hard as hell and she thinks she's my equal in physical, and trust me, let me tell you something. I've been training martial arts 38 years. Any woman that's ever come against me has never had the chance that most guys have. Okay, because they're not built the same way, period. That's why you don't see women in the NFL. They would get demolished unless they go in and they start changing the rules, right? And that's why we're having a problem now where you see, people who are trans in sports and women are complaining about that. But they shot themselves in their own foot.
Correct.
So it's like you have to understand it's a thing of saying, all right, when I was comparing the two women, I was comparing Wonder Woman compared to the Dahomey tribe in that movie. Because even the Dahomey tribe in reality don't look as hard as they do. Well, if you go online and you look at a picture of the Dahomey tribe, they don't even look as hard as that.
So let's and I want to clarify, understand that I'm not the aesthetic that I'm speaking to is the collective aesthetic. It's an issue that this is how all of our women are more commonly depicted.
Mm-hmm.
We don't share the same space of beauty and opportunity to be attractive as our counterparts.
What do you say about that, Scott?
I absolutely disagree. Because the aesthetic is what, for lack of a better word, the white man made you think is pretty. But
okay.
You ever been in the hood and you knew a chick who could play ball in the hood?
Mm-hmm.
But she was nice?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the hood likes her. And she's not as pretty as the rest of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
But she's just skilled. And that's the reason why those Dahomey women were pretty, because they were skilled.
Well, that's first off.
Not how Europeans want you to see something beautiful. And I think that's what Nomadic was saying. Are we judging the aesthetic?
No, because I don't know if you saw it, but I used Foxy Brown as an example. I used Pam Grier as an example. She was still a sexy woman. She was very strong. But
her femininity was not a.
But her femininity was compromised. It wasn't compromised.
What is the word? Yeah. It wasn't ambiguous.
It wasn't ambiguous. It was very clear that she's a woman. The problem that we're having, listen, okay, because we're about to get into the understanding of why Black men and Black women are having problems in the relationship. That's why it's good that we're having this conversation and that we opened it up. When you have two of the same in a relationship, right? Doesn't matter what relationship it is. There's going to be a butting of heads because there's not going to be any form of, what do I always say, compromise. There's not going to be any compromise. If she's strong and I'm strong, she ain't going back down. I ain't going back down, right? If I feel this is what's right for the family, and she feels, well, this is what's right for the family. Even if I got fact that what I know is right for the family, that's friction. There's a problem when you got two hard. It's like science. Two hard substances going up against each other. What's going to happen? Fire. You're going to have that friction, and that's what's going to be a lot of resistance. And that's where we're at in the Black community. There's no denying that. You know, it's the reason why you see a lot of people saying, oh, I want to go and find someone in a different country, which to me is stupid anyway, because it's like that person can't relate with you. Going back to what we're talking about, interracial relationships.
Right.
Okay, that person is not going to be able to relate with you. And that's just my opinion. I mean, I know people who've been in, interracial relationships and they've lasted a long time. Some people who didn't last a long time.
I think they can relate, but they can't empathize with your plight.
I mean,
the thing is, what y'all are describing like a genealogy of what happened with Black women.
oh, absolutely.
What you're missing is a whole decade of the 90s.
Well, it
It
started before that. It started before that, Scott. Yeah, it started.
Blaxploitation, yeah.
Yeah, but see, that's where you're misguided. The film wasn't about so much pimping as much as it was about her gaining revenge on her lover that got killed. So she infiltrated. Huh? What'd you say? No. I used Foxy Brown as an example. That's where the photo was from. I'm not talking about the other films. I'm talking about that film in particular.
But I agree with Scott, because if we're talking about the collective image, you have to include all of her films.
Yeah,
everything.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But my point is, and we have footage that Nomadic had mentioned something. I remember that footage from when I was a kid. That tells how old I am, because I was 16 when it aired. There's footage that we want to show. We'll probably show it on Thursday. We got to do a series on it that basically talks about what happened in the 70s with the welfare moms. Okay? With the welfare moms. And you see girls literally sitting there saying, I wanted to have a baby. And the man asked her why. Black girl. The man, she's 14, I think. Why did you want to have a baby? Oh, I don't know. I just wanted someone, that smelled good, that I could love. Well, why?
Are you talking about the Moynihan Report?
Yes, the Moynihan Report.
She said that she liked his
the
legs.
Boyfriend. Yeah, his legs.
She loved his legs.
What did you like about the baby's father? His legs. His legs. He was bow-legged. I got a thing for bow-legged men. And then they talk to the father, and he's just as clueless as her. And the problem was that there were no fathers in the home at the time when the
disconnect was created.
Huge disconnect because of the drug game, the heroin, and all the stuff that came in. The crack epidemic sealed the deal. So by the time the 90s came, hip-hop was Black men's father. It was no fathers in the home. So you dressed how you saw your rappers dressed, and you related on how you saw music and how you saw music videos. So absolutely, Scott, seeing men pour champagne on women's breasts and, Nelly and Tick Drill and all these videos, and Luke, the damage he did. But at the same time, we look back and say, listen, I was in the music game at the 90s. Nobody ever forces those women, ever. Trust me when I tell you this. Maybe in porn, because I knew porn people who went through horrible things.
Not forcing them. The problem is the propaganda that is coming out of what they're making.
Absolutely. But there's always a choice, right? So
BT Uncut, they're seeing images that they should never see.
Absolutely, I agree.
That's the collective Black image.
Right, but the problem becomes, when does a person take personal choice? And when does a person exercise personal choice and say, listen, I'm 53 years old. I never smoked. I never drank. I never even touched weed in my mouth. I never did any of that. That's my choice. My uncle looked at me. Let me finish. Let me hold on.
Are you talking about the rapper who's pouring the champagne, or are you talking about the woman who's?
I'm talking about both. Both. Personal choice. He chooses to do it. She chooses to allow it. No, listen. A lot of these video girls were pulling in $30,000 per music video. $30,000. Okay. Melissa Ford and a lot of these other girls were the top video vixens of that time. They were pulling in money just to go and clap their booty for an hour on the music video set.
I want to call to attention something. I think it's very important to outline or acknowledge that this subsect of our culture that we're speaking about, which are the people who are embarrassing to us all, they're barely 20% of our entire population worldwide. So let's be clear about that, because even the way that Black people tend to discourse about this makes it seem as though they're the majority, and they're not. The issue is that those who are embarrassing to our culture and shameful to our culture in general, our community.
But the thing about it,
the negative images I'm speaking of
are just like the rich, like the majority.
But the issue is the issue is I agree with you, but the issue is that we're on television and they're not. The issue is that worldwide, that's how we're being depicted and seen, and they're not. So it doesn't matter that they're also doing it. The issue is we're the ones who are being used to promote it visually, and that's why our collective image is an issue.
But my point is, whose fault is that? Is that the woman's fault?
No, it's both. It's both.
That's why I said we. I'm talking
both.
about the Black community.
Yeah, no, it's both. It's real easy for sides to point at each other and say it's your fault. No, it's your fault, and it becomes that Spider-Man meme. Everybody's pointing at each other. No, that's what I showed you with that. I wasn't going to leave the guys out. I started with the women because the Woman King is the most popular thing right now, and people are being told that they're idiots for not supporting something that they don't believe in, which to me is ludicrous. If you know, because they're like, oh, so now all of a sudden you guys are historians in the Doheny tribe. It's like, yeah, I've been on that for a long time. so I understand what's going on behind that movement. I know what that's all about. Like, I know what it's all about. And I want to word it correctly, because it's the same thing that happened with Harriet. There's, every time these films drop the way they drop, there's a movement in that society of people who produce these films. Okay, because you got to remember, just to give you a little info, because a lot of people don't even know, they've just been praising the film, they haven't looked it up. But initially, Maria Bello was the one that wrote and started producing the film. She developed it 12 years ago. Viola Davis wasn't even on the scene when Maria Bello started it. Dana Sims came on board as second producer. They had been developing that film. It was already written, all of that. So by the time Lupita Nyong'o won the Oscar, that's when they went to Viola and Lupita, because they knew they had a driving force. They had a team that was unbeatable. Lupita was bigger than Viola at that time. I mean, obviously Viola's a better actor in my opinion, but Lupita was bigger because of the Oscar. Lupita did a documentary over in Nigeria. She went over to the Doheny tribe, met with the last woman that's alive of the Doheny tribe, okay? Had a great time. This was after Black Panther. She did Black Panther. She says, oh my God, this is an amazing experience. I got to meet the last Doheny woman, okay? The soldier, Agoji soldier. And the Oscars were all on the same day. My film just got nominated. So when people say that didn't happen at the same time, they're lying, because she says it on the film. The next day, she goes to meet with a Doheny survivor, someone who was sold into slavery. And it changed her whole perspective. Now, granted, people are saying, well, how do you know that that's the reason why she dropped out the film? Kind of makes sense. You know what I'm saying? She was so devastated by what she saw, devastated that she wanted no part of the film. That's where I'm coming from. I have no problem with Black women being strong, being, powerful. But my thing is, like, don't replace the men. Now, you've seen the film. Let me ask you a question, since we're on this subject. Who was the main person that caused the most pain to Viola Davis's character?
It was the king, the other king.
No. The person that raped her, right? There was I mean, we don't want to go into spoilers, but we have to in order to get where I want to get to. Okay.
Spoiler alert.
Who caused the most pain to the young girl who was the main star of the film? Who caused her the most pain? I'm sorry?
Her mother.
No, her father. Her father threw her into the Doheny tribe. Did she not? Did he not?
Her mother got rid of her.
No. I'm not talking about Viola's character getting rid of her daughter. I'm talking about the main character that's opposite Viola. Didn't her father throw her to the Doheny tribe because he said she was unruly and she wouldn't listen and she wouldn't marry the guy? That beat her? Didn't the guy that wanted to marry her, didn't he beat her as well? He slapped her, he hit her, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you mean to tell me in a film where there's supposed to be all of this rage against the white man, or in this film, the French and or the Brazilians and or the Portuguese, the people doing the most damage to these women are black men? I'm losing you, Scott.
Sorry.
Okay. Yes.
I said no. That's not true.
Well. Who went and captured the slaves at the end? Who went and captured the Dahomey slaves? Was it the Portuguese, or was it the French, or was it the neighboring tribe?
It was the neighboring. Well, nobody captured
No.
them.
They went and she had to go back and get the girl and all the other slaves from, right?
Right.
It was a neighboring tribe, right?
Right.
Okay. So
I'm trying my best
to remember the film.
This with what I say, because I don't want to.
No, and I'm not and I'm not setting you up or anything. I'm just pointing out facts because that's how it was in Harriet. In Harriet.
No, but the thing, even in Harriet, it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter, Scott.
In both of those stories, the first thing that was happening to them was being done by white people.
No, it wasn't. Not in those films. Listen. In Harriet, hold on. Let me say something real quick. In Harriet, right? What was the character with the slave master? What was his name? Do you remember?
I do.
Okay, no, because I'm a film buff. I love film and I analyze this stuff really deep. His name was Bigger Long. Do you know that character never existed? For there to be a black man as a slave catcher, to not only say, hey, let's get that bitch Harriet Tubman. I want to be able to get some money and get me some white hoes, right? So, yeah. Okay, so at the end of the film, if anybody's never seen it, spoiler alert, at the end of the film, the slave master kills Bigger Long, okay? Because Bigger Long beats the hell out of her best friend and kills her, okay? Which never happened either. That never happened either. But Bigger Long gets killed by the slave master. What does Harriet do to the slave master? I don't know if you remember this.
Just tell me.
She lets him live. She throws the shotgun down, gets on a horse, and rides off into the sunset. So there's an ongoing thing that people are not paying attention to because we as a collective, as a people, we want, what is that? I'm sorry. We want to see us in we're so desperate to see us with the win that we don't understand that we are also being programmed. That's the point that I'm making.
Well, we're being utilized. We're being we're being shown to the world in a very specific way.
Yes,
and we always have. And I personally, and I don't watch movies or any of that shit. I barely watch TV because I just don't care. I don't care to watch it. I mean, I don't care to spend my time on that because I understand that it becomes a psychological poisoning, and I'm not willing to partake in that. It's just not for me. It is definitely an issue that we're constantly shown under lights that don't benefit our existence, that don't benefit our future, that don't benefit the way that the world interacts with us. That's a huge issue.
Did you see the movie?
I have not seen the movie.
I
I'm saying
won't
in
support
general.
I won't support it.
The movie
In just a second, I'll be right back.
An attempt to correct what you're talking about.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I disagree.
No, it's not. It's purely fiction. It's purely fiction. And listen, what I put on my Facebook just recently was that, you know, people are taking their children to see this movie. You know, I could care less what people do with their time. But when you involve the innocence of children, because their minds are formed, like I said, when I saw Foxy Brown, after that was my thought of how a black woman should look. That's what.
What are you saying is?
Oh my God, no! Damn it! It cut off again. God, right in the middle of the
It's all good. We got any other who want to join and offer their perspective? Excuse me, guys. I have not eaten today. Brother is hungry. I'm a growing boy. Let's see. So, is he back on or? Oh, your live is dead.
Yeah.
Okay. So, OnlyFans is so popularized. I know people that never tried to get a job and just jumped straight into that lifestyle without thinking of the future ramifications of it all. Assuming that she is talking about our people, there's a huge community of our people who tend to jump into whatever the easiest way out is.
Yeah.
And it's acceptable.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. I got to find out what's going on. It's been doing this for the last couple of lives where it cuts me off at a specific time.
So,
if anybody knows what's causing that, please let me know.
Yeah, Janessa said it only lasts 1 hour depending on your account type, which I think you still don't have a business account more than likely.
Scott, call back in, please. Okay. All right. Call back in. So we'll figure that out. My apologies to everyone. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, back on what I was telling Scott in regard, you know, and I didn't want to make this about the woman king. I wanted to make it about why there's such a disassociation or disconnection between black men and black women, and a lot of it has to do with the constant battle in the relationship of the vying of who's in control and who's in power. So again, Scott, you was asking me about. I'm sorry. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Yeah. Okay. You were saying. I wanted to let you backtrack.
You can hear me?
Yes, I hear you well.
Okay. No, you know what? Just go, Joyce.
No. Listen. Listen. Part of where we're headed to is helping people to understand that media is the main reason why there's a major disconnect with the black community. Because of who we are as a culture, we're very impressed upon and we're very impressive, right? And so many cultures want to be us or be like us, and many of us want to be like other cultures. So what happens is that, going back to what you were saying about the European perspective of how a black woman should look, short hair, long hair don't matter to me. Beautiful is beautiful. Dark skin, light skin don't matter to me. Beautiful is beautiful. And when I work on my films, it's imperative that I cast across the color lines. I'm very big on that as well, because it's important that we see ourselves. You know, they always throw that black people aren't a monolith. You know, I'm so sick of hearing that phrase, but they throw that around like it's, you know, now laters. It's beyond that. It's beyond, okay, how do we get back to a point where this man and this woman are able to realize that they not only want each other, but need each other? How do we get back to that? And I believe it starts with the media. And so when I see films like Harriet and like Woman King, I already know what it's all about. I already know what the deeper message is behind it, because the Woman King is primarily a fictional film. Like it wasn't even written by somebody black. So not that makes too much of a difference, but it does. It does.
It makes a huge difference.
You're saying that the homie never existed?
No. I'm talking about the fiction of the script itself, not what it's based on, because they keep saying
If it's
based
not
on
historically
truth.
accurate, it's not historically accurate.
Yeah, and people are quick to be like, oh, well, you know, it's not a documentary. Right. But if the Viola Davis character never existed, why did you put her in there? Then, not only that, why did you put the rape in there? Oh, they explained their contention with the slave trade, but that never happened. There was no one in the Dahomey tribe that was up against the king saying, maybe we should think about palm oil. It didn't happen. His main phrase was like, this is the riches of my people. We would never stop selling slaves.
But the thing about it, Choice, some things and the way that it's been in Hollywood, it doesn't matter if it happened. So, if
it does.
People want to embellish what happened, all I know when it comes to
we didn't embellish if we didn't write the script.
As black people, is that a lot of bad happened. Not to, I don't want to curse. A lot of bad stuff.
You can curse, not a problem.
And we were great, and we excelled. We did amazing things, and that needs to be told more.
Right, but the Dahomey wasn't the Dahomey. Listen, the Dahomey wasn't those people. So why not focus? See, listen, this is what you gotta understand. When I was mentioning early in the show, why not the Queen of Sheba? Why not? There's a lot of African queens, powerful African queens.
There's a whole nother tribe that she I'd have to pull the name back up.
In Gaza. I think her name is in Gaza.
Yeah. They were war fighting queendom, rather.
Yes.
And they never committed really any atrocities on their own people.
None. The Nubians, if anything, they spread their seed. And that's why there's a huge chunk of Egypt. When you go to the museum, you'll see there's a huge chunk of the timeline that's erased. And people say, what happened to that? And they go, no. And they walk off. They don't want anything to do with the Nubian reign. The Nubians reigned for a long time. Now, my point is this. Okay, no, hold on. Let me finish real quick. Let me finish real quick and I'll let you speak. This is my point, because this is going back to what I was telling you. I don't care what people feel is entertainment and what they want to support. I don't care about that. But like I put on my Facebook, when it comes to the kids, people are taking their children to this. You have to give them all aspects. You have to. You can't revisionize history and say, this is the story I want you to know. I mean, you can. And then, just like they always say, doomed to repeat. Because the thing is a person is not fully instituted in knowing what happened. So listen, our women and our men are the way they are because someone dropped the ball previously. Whether it was single parenthood, whether it was a matriarchal family, whether it was the father wasn't around, whether it was all they had was their block and they never went anywhere else in the world. They were in Bed-Stuy all their life. They may have went to Manhattan and that was a trip. Somewhere along the line, our community, we have to take the blame that we dropped the ball. We got here somehow. It's not just institutionalized racism that did it. It's not. Somehow we got here. And somehow we have to make a change. And if people feel the woman king is the way to do it, God bless them. But you can't stop somebody for saying, I see what's really going on because I know who really was behind it. It wasn't Viola. People was like, oh, she started it. No, she didn't. That movie was 12 years in development before she got to it.
Let's talk about the big issue there.
Nobody cares who was behind it.
But that's important.
The point is that like this, movies like this don't happen.
Right, but they should happen. They should happen in accordance to how we need them to happen. I agree. They don't happen, but then again, you have to question people who have the opportunity to make them and they don't.
It's kind of like when Martin or any freedom fighter like wants to start a movement. There's always a couple people who are like, well, if you're gonna do it, you shouldn't do it like that. You need to go over there. You need to just slow. We are finally seeing ourselves in more movies, telling stories. I don't care if it's in Jenga or the Dahomey or the Candaces. Tell all of the stories because there were so many of them. But all we see is Wonder Woman.
But what happens when as a community we drop the ball again because we do not instruct the children correctly? What happens?
Well, Hold on. I think I get what you're saying, and I've been wanting to chime in for a second here. The issue is that
I'm sorry, bro.
you're fine. The issue is that we're not writing these things. We're not driving these things. They're not ours. It's just like anything else that has been given to us over the last 4 centuries. Actually, it's been about 7 centuries. If it's not ours, it didn't come from us, and someone else is telling our story, that is problematic. I don't know if you know much about how the current curriculum for elementary, middle, and high school in America right now. They're not even talking about slavery anymore.
It's indentured slavery.
I was about to say they're calling it indentured servitude, which is completely untrue. They're softening the history. They're smearing it in their favor. How is that not the exact same as them having absolute control over the media, over our media, or media that depicts us that the world sees? That's an issue. That's a huge problem. It goes beyond representation. Representation, I believe, is a cover-up phrase today. Representation is not so important that at least there was a black crackhead in that movie. At least there was that. I don't want at least.
I mean,
I don't think that's good enough.
None of us want at least. But the thing about it is we are black and we live in America. So we have to take it the way it comes.
Take what we can get is bullshit.
We might as well go someplace else.
No. We're not going anywhere else. This is our country. Like I said before in several shows, I've been out of the country and I realized what the contribution of my ancestors here have given. I am a Black American. I don't say I'm an African American. I'm a Black American. And I'm proud of this country and I'm proud of what I know can be possible. I just got to fight extra hard. It hurts, but I got to fight extra hard.
What are you proud of this country for?
I'm proud of what my ancestors have contributed to it. A lot of the inventions that we're around all day were by Black people.
North America was ours before.
Yeah, and there were Black people here primarily. Yeah, before they got here, but that's another story in itself.
Millenniums before.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely,
be clear about that.
Absolutely. But in regards to the contribution that Black people have given to this country, it's immeasurable. It's immeasurable, and you won't see it until you go to another country or several other countries, and you see.
They know our history better.
Yes, which is why they keep us from our history. So it's an insult to say, I'm going to support a film that has revisionist history in regards to how my ancestors suffered to get here. It just they talk about it in the film. Okay, how? Well, Viola, her character tells John Boyega's character that maybe we shouldn't be doing slaves. That's a throwaway. No, that's a throwaway. So now it's your job as a parent to take your children to teach them the truth. Now I was different. I would watch a movie and I'd be like, I'm gonna get in that library to see what actually happened.
Yeah,
that was me. I'm still like that. You know what I mean? I go and I look up and I'm like, that didn't happen. But everybody's not like that. We're talking about that percentage of people.
It's a small percentage.
It's a small percentage. You see what I'm saying?
It's less than 20%.
Yes, that believe what they see on film. They believe it. They believe that that's it. I was watching some people write on Facebook saying that that's exactly what happened.
Oh, wait, you're saying the percentage of people who believe everything that they see?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it's much larger.
Oh, yeah, uneducated.
Yeah, that's a vast majority.
Yeah, uneducated.
Well, it's not even uneducated. It's easier, man. We're living an extreme life of luxury.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to go out and get any of the food that I got today.
Mm-hmm.
Just an example of the luxuries that we're afforded. When your life is that easy, I have tons of children, not children, but younger men and women that I mentor, and I have to tell them almost every day, you have the entire world in your hands with the phone. You don't even have to go to the library.
Mm-hmm.
When that becomes a luxury, it becomes something that you neglect. And in the age of information, I believe that information is one of the most neglected commodities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Scott, we got to move on because I'm pretty sure we got other people that want to call in. If they don't, then please call us back. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Throw it out there. Throw it out there. Go ahead. Throw it out there, please. Throw it out there. Whatever you said. You said you had another.
No, I was just gonna say that, like, I remember when I went to see Black Panther, and I came out and I saw all the kids playing, pretending to be a black superhero. And I saw the movie 3 times.
Okay.
And the first time I didn't know that, and then the second and third time I was more excited to see that than I was the movie.
Okay, so
I never grew up with that.
Right. So let me add to that. Because I agree with you. I own it on Blu-ray. I love that film. Right?
I still haven't
It's
seen it.
fiction. It is fiction. And they did a better job with fiction than they did with actual truth. A better job. And you know why? Because with fiction, you can stretch it. You can stretch it.
Choice. Here's the thing. I have seen the 10 Commandments at least 100 times. I've seen the movie so many times. With Charleston Heston.
Yeah, that's my brother's favorite film. God rest his soul.
It's a classic. But how inaccurate is that movie?
As far as the casting is concerned, highly inaccurate. Highly.
Inaccurate.
But one of the things.
When we finally get to see the
But hold on, no, we can't go. Hold on, Scott. You can't throw the 10 Commandments up there and not go about it. You gotta, as far as the casting, it is highly inaccurate. But Cecil B. DeMille was a devout Christian, so a lot of those things in that film, I would say 98% is correct. 98% of the 10 Commandments. If you go right along, I've done it. Go right along with the Bible. Most of it is correct. And remember, that was the second version of the Bible, of the 10 Commandments. Yeah, it stands right up with it. You go page by page.
I'm talking about white people looking like they're Egyptian.
Oh no, I agree. That's shit. That's trash. Yeah, that's trash. I mean,
is that not the same as them writing our movies?
Right. That's the point we're making, Scott.
98% accurate is. It really doesn't matter because there's a whole bunch of people perpetrating like they were there at that time around the Sphinx and all the temples.
Well, listen. We're not disagreeing on that, Scott. We're talking about revisionist history. Most people don't believe in the Bible anyway, so they think it's a fictional story. But for me as a Christian man, like I said, I can go page per page according to the movie, and 98% of it is on point, minus the casting, right? So, and also too, you've seen the movie enough, you actually see them bring Nubia in there, which was odd at that time. That was a rare thing to see on film. They actually brought Nubian, people up in there, and they looked beautiful. They came up in there with them feathers, and they were dancing. So my point in what I'm saying is, it's a difference between revisionist history and bad casting. We've been dealing with bad casting since the event of film. That's not going to change. So now it's been flipped now, and black girl power is taking over, and they're getting these white people mad, right? With all their princesses. I could care less. Like that stuff I don't care about, because I don't really care about Disney.
Moses was Charleston Heston, bro.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Moses did not look.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all. At all.
What that does to the mind.
It does affect the mind. Absolutely, it does affect the mind. But it's not the same as something where now you have the casting on point and then you have the story totally wrong. That's detrimental.
It's not totally wrong that there were women who were strong.
That's the only truth, Scott, that's the only truth of that movie. Do the research. No, it's not. No, it's not, because no, it's not. That's not more important than understanding how we got here. If you don't know where you come from, you don't.
Learn how we got here by watching that movie.
Not that one. I agree with you 100%. Definitely not the Woman King.
Which movie are we going to find out how we got here?
The movie that more than likely black people will get together and finally finance.
So we haven't even seen it.
No.
We've never even seen
No, and that's the problem.
They make
That's
a movie
they.
called Woman
But see, listen.
We want to say
They'll continue to make those. Why will they continue to make those movies, Scott? Why will they continue to make those movies? Because people will go and see them. Instead of saying, no, we don't accept this. This is trash. Give us what we really want, or you're not getting our dollars. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of the civil rights movement. I'm going to sit here on this bus. You are not going to make me sit in the back of the bus. And if you decide that that's what you want me to do, we're not going to use your buses. Period. It's a dollar thing. It always goes back to economics. Period. So until people see that, they can't even see why there's a dynamic fight or a strong friction between black men and black women relationships, because they don't understand that the dynamics is off. She wants the man's place.
Well, it's no longer even being taught in school. Our history here in America is not even being taught in school. That's problematic. That is the exact same as them having control of, again, all of our media, every movie, every television show, the things that are popular, something even as far as and disrespectful as Black Lives Matter. It's not even a black-owned institution or a black-owned group. These things are problems. It's not good enough just because it's getting visibility. All press is not good press. Mm-hmm. Just like all money ain't good money. Mm-hmm. That's across the board. If we don't have control over it, we don't have full influence over it, what's really happening to our culture when we're not the ones driving it?
Yeah.
It's improving.
Well, bit by bit, yeah. But I mean,
it's getting better.
Yeah. Let's leave it on that. We got it. I want to get a woman's perspective in, Scott. I love you. I always appreciate your Discord, man. It's always
Likewise.
Great, man. All right. Let's see. Can we get you in here, Janessa, or somebody? You got any females watching who want to give a perspective, ask any questions in regards to why things are the way they are with black men and black women? Maybe you want to vent. Maybe you just want to vent about black men and why you may feel like they why you may feel like they ain't worth anything. It's good for nothing.
Or why you feel whatever it is that you feel.
Or why you feel whatever it is you feel. I kind of want to stay off.
Even concerning the subject.
Yes. I mean, I know we drifted towards. I wanted to do that on Thursday, but we drifted towards the Woman King. But
I mean, that's a part of the issue, man. Just all of it collectively. Again, we're talking about everything that everything between black men and black women that affects our community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a year-long discussion.
Yeah. And Janessa, to answer your question or your statement, she doesn't want his place, and she didn't take his place. She actually sat next to him, but lower than him in the end. Oh, okay, that's a perspective you saw, but that never happened either. So who decided that was something that needed to be written into the script? Because he never offered her that position in real life. In the film, maybe, but in real life, he never offered that position. So there lies the problem.
Well, speak to why that's an issue. How does that benefit the current dynamic between black men and black women?
Right. Are we truly helping each other, or are we compromising to a point to where, okay, this is so that way we don't have any problems?
We're fighting over our intended positions.
Okay, Janessa, thanks for coming in. All right, we got you live, Janessa. Got you live. Love to hear your perspective. Hello, you.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks for hitting us in.
Yeah. Does that sound okay?
Yes, you sound great. You look great, too.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So much, huh? So much, so heavy.
That's a lot.
That's what change your mind, change your thinking is all about, mamas.
I know. It's so heavy. It's like I'm literally like shaking, listening to and watching this conversation evolve. I love you more than my next breath. I am so sorry. I was especially when it comes to this movie.
Okay.
I went to see it. I'm going to see it again. No, I didn't take Haley to see it, yet. She's not as big a movie buff as I am, but the industry I'm in, so that's what I do. I watch it. I don't just watch for those reasons. I watch for other reasons. But and I'm not gonna dabble with the historical accuracy or inaccuracy because I haven't done all of the research that you guys have done.
Can you guys?
Well, let me stop you for a second. Let me ask you a question. What about the film touched you so much? Because that's what I've been hearing. I mean, I've actually been hearing men saying that it's been affecting them tremendously.
Well, and I'm gonna say this on live before, and I don't want to kick the people off, but if you don't want spoiler alerts, then you probably should listen to me speak because I'm definitely going to talk about the movie. So, I'll speak. You guys talked about this topic. I really believe too. In the movie we touched on it, she got raped. That's one of the things. Okay, one of the things that the Woman King, who in the end was titled the Woman King, in the end of the movie, she was fighting. A lot of her strength and resilience, and a lot of her push. And again, I'm talking about the movie, not the historical accuracy. It was because she was fighting what had happened to her. She was fighting. Now, in the movie, they showed that you can't wed, or you have to be celibate, and stay a virgin, whatever. And that wasn't just for the women; that was for both the women and the men. And then once you get further into the movie, you see that there are women and men. Because at first it does look like it's just women in the camp, but it's actually both. And you see it at the end.
Well, see, but that's part of why there's an issue with this film, because the men were never relegated to not have. They were the only women were wives of the king. They were wives of the king. The men were never relegated to celibacy, ever. Because
Now they did. Now
You-
they did not say it in the film. I just assume it because they are in the same
Unit.
camp,
Mhm.
they're training, they're in the same unit. So I'm assuming that the rules were the same for both. They never said that. So
Okay, no, that's fine.
that was in the movie.
That's fine. That was your perspective. Yeah.
So with that being said, I know that, I think the young lady was saying it, and she was here, and I don't know if she left, but like you talk about the softness and how you wouldn't want to come home to this certain type of woman. And when I looked at the photographs that you played, and one was of the picture of the Woman King. And then the other one was Wonder Woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I watched quite a few interviews with Viola Davis talking about just her studies and her doing the role of the Woman King. And I think it was, I don't know the guy's name, who mentioned the aesthetic. And I will be honest with you, based on the two photographs that you played, I didn't see a difference.
Wow, that's interesting.
And one of the biggest things, one of the first things you mentioned was her femininity, and look how her hair is blowing.
No, that was just listen, hold on. That was just no. Yeah, that was just the idea, like going back to what Scott said about the Europeans' viewpoint of their women. When I put up Pam Grier, does that not make a difference? She was black and beautiful, and I mean, I don't.
But I think based on where these women, they're showing, geographically where they're supposed to be, and
Yes, but hold on, but see, this is my point. So then you would have to go and look up the Doheny tribe and see how the photos really looked of that tribe. I should have.
I understand what you're saying, but even the women in the movie, The Woman King, I don't think that as much as you're saying that they look hard and I don't agree with that.
Okay, so I know you personally. This is my coup de grace. You're one of the strongest women I know. You strong. It's sexy as hell. I've seen you dressed in a full suit, tux, and still was shutting it down. Didn't you? Yeah. All woman. No denying it's a woman, but she got on a man suit and a hat. You see what I'm saying? And so how would you want to be seen every day? I'm gonna pose this to you and every other woman that's listening to this. How would you want to be seen every day? Like the woman king, the homie tribe, or how you put it down?
The crazy part is that I'm becoming more comfortable in my natural, which is to me the depiction from home.
But look, at the beginning of the show, right, when you jumped in, I said we got people, there's a brother just said, yo, she was beautiful. No makeup. That's typical how most of us like it. Most men,
Right.
most black men in particular, no makeup, hair under the hat, right? We good with it. We don't need all the relaxer. We don't. If my boy Michael McDonald was on right now, he'd be the first one to tell you he don't like makeup, he don't like the relaxed hair, none of that.
I don't do any of that.
And I'll be honest with you, from a woman, because I'm dating men, people choose to do what they want. But most men are not like that. Most men, I don't, and most men are not like that.
Hold on a second. Yeah, hold on a second. Bruce Carlton, Cunningham Jr., they were soldiers, but they were also women, and they were wives of the king. So you had to go and do your research. You had to do your research. They were very beautiful women. And I'm not saying Viola Davis and them are not beautiful. I never said that they weren't beautiful. I said they were hard as hell, and who wants to come home to that every day? There's got to be a balance, right? Okay, if you're a gladiator, right? Look, Kerry Washington, Scandal was one of my favorite shows when it was on. The parts I love the most about Kerry Washington is when she would figure everything out and she was like, we're gladiators. And she would go in and she'd start talking fast and she would just, put a hand on her hip. And I was like, man, I love that. That's, woo! That was my mama. That's how my mama was. And not that, I had a love with my mama, but in that regard.
You know what? I saw the movie, and just to kind of, because I don't want to get off the point, but I did see the movie, and I know you said you don't want support or whatever, but there are a lot of, obviously they can't show the juiciest parts. There was a lot of softness. There was a lot of femininity. There was a lot of, I know the whole point of this is women, and I'm going to just say what it is.
I'm listening.
Because I don't mind being in a place so that a man can be in his place. Everyone has a place. There was a lot of that. Now, she didn't give two shits about the man who raped her. I mean, and I don't blame her, but the one who was the king, and when he said a thing, she respected it and she stayed in her place. And sometimes we rebel, that happens. But I think that maybe the trailer. I don't know if you saw the movie. I thought you didn't, but it's a lot of. I think there's a lot of quoting of what happened in the movie. They were very feminine and soft. They even had on these halter pieces, and the stomachs were out. And I don't think just because they're fighting and they're doing this thing makes them less feminine or less of a woman. I just don't agree with that.
Well,
and essentially her whole thing was in this movie was that her whole thing was, when you see in the end, where she was going to take out this person who essentially ruined her life, like you said.
And I had a problem with that because once again, just like with Harriet, it was a black man. See, that's where people will not address that. Like, I get it. The film is affecting people.
And I'm going to say, I'm agreeing. It was a black man. I mean, we know what white people did. We know all of that. But in this particular film, which we're referencing right now, it was a black man.
Yeah, but don't you understand? It always is, which is the problem. Just like Color Purple. Color Purple, Celie's issue was Mr. and Mr.'s father.
So let me ask you a question. Say this was a Black Panther that was fictional. Do you think that it should have been a white person to do it?
To what?
Let me say this based on this. Based on my reality. Let me speak truth on my reality. Okay, being molested by my biological father, 7 to 14 years old. It wasn't a white man it is, but it was my fucking dad. You understand? So that's what they're showing is majority of our children.
Right. So, but I'm not disagreeing with the truth. What I'm saying is, If that is not the story, why put that in? Why put that in? What's the point? What's the underlying reason? We have to look beyond our own personal experiences when it comes to what's happening between our culture, between black men and black women.
And here's the thing.
So hold on. Let me add to it. Let me add to it. So you don't think that in itself is going to cause something with how you deal with black men?
What do you mean?
Because it did for me when I was molested by black men. And I had to go through a trauma stage of being able to count on black brothers and everything that I went through. You don't think that every woman that's ever had that happen, okay, where it's like we know that a large percentage of women have been molested, not so much always or raped, large percentage, but not always by black men, right?
Right.
If a girl goes to college and she gets date raped by Dalton, right? So her issue is, but she's going to go and watch the Woman King and relate with that because it's rape, period. Because, women activate through emotion. So what I'm saying is a little different than where you're coming from, because I'm talking about the dynamics between black men and black women and why there's an issue.
Now, we have a comment that I think that plays into this as well, from Okai, which says, strength and femininity doesn't have to be separate. There was power in femininity. There were feminine women in the movie, but the women they wanted to portray as strong were void of femininity. Now, I know this person personally.
The last part.
There is power in femininity. There were feminine women in the movie, but the women they wanted to portray as strong were void of femininity. This is coming from a woman. I think that is important for women to see the power of femininity, not to see women having to.
Let me ask you this question, gentlemen. It could be you are the person who made the statement, because I disagree with whoever said that. What is femininity?
Oh, man. The difference between masculinity and femininity?
I didn't ask the difference. I said, what is femininity?
Femininity is what women are born into.
The nurturing.
That is your divine power in nature. There are things that you could do as a woman that I'll never even be able to comprehend. I would never even try to emulate it. If I was a single father that had a daughter, trust me, the first thing I would do is branch out.
Give me some synonyms or examples of femininity. Just give me synonyms, just a few words of what femininity is.
I'll give you an example. The fact that a woman could stand in front of a mirror and appreciate every subtle aspect of her body. That to me is one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen. A man doesn't do that. Men, we look in the mirror, we groom ourselves, maybe throw on clothes, and we go out the door. A true woman is able to appreciate every. Do you know when I counsel and when I give advice to men, one of the things that I help them understand is to connect with that aspect of themselves, because we don't. We're not able to walk into a room and shut it down like a woman can. And that's not just a physical thing. That's a spiritual thing.
Right.
Where every eye, even where a little boy can look at a woman and know she's gorgeous. The fact of how you're able to hold your child, right? There's no that connection that a woman has with the child. Especially when a mother loses a child. A man's totally different compared to how a woman is. Totally.
So to that, I'm a student of Dick Gregory. Rest in peace to him. One of his last interviews, he spoke about the relationship between the child and the mother. Your mother is the only being on this planet, even beyond your father, where you fall and scrape your knee or, whatever trials and tribulations you're going through with adulthood, some of the worst things could be happening to you. But your mother is the only person who could pull you close and give you a kiss on the forehead or, embrace you and tell you that things are going to be okay and you genuinely actually feel better.
And
that's the power of femininity.
And if you don't receive that, because a lot of people would disagree about their parents, right? Once you become a parent, you understand it, which evokes more femininity to the woman. It's a very powerful thing. And I'm not saying that in the film they didn't touch on certain things, right? That's why they went with Viola Davis. Viola Davis is one of the most powerful actors on the fucking planet. They always say she's
very
a
dynamic.
They say she's a black Meryl Streep, but really, Meryl Streep wish she could be Viola in some capacity. If you ever watch, Doubt, and you see how they went back and forth with each other, right? So I went through the same thing when it came to teaching women action stuff in class. When I in my acting studio, the black girls in class would lose all femininity. They would get up there and they got a gun in their hand. Listen, it's not their fault because they had to become something else. That's why I took you guys back to the 50s when you had a family unit together, you see. And then in the 60s, they drifted more apart. And then in the 70s, they were totally apart because of all that was going on in society. Yes, institutionalized racism. Everybody always talks about that. Great, yes. But there was something that happened when I showed you those two women up there holding up those fists. White women came over and got black women. They still do. They still come and get y'all. They come and get black women. And when you look at this film, you have to understand what is the main purpose. Oh, it's to build female dynamics. Well, why wouldn't those white women go and find a story to tell their story? Wouldn't they make more money if it was a white story? No. They went and got some black women and told their story because it doesn't exist in their culture. So they had to have the Doheny because the Doheny is the only. Well, we talked about there's other tribes, but
there are others.
The thing is there's an underlying thing that's going on there that people have to address. I'm not saying don't watch the movie. You never heard me say boycott it. I said I had a problem with people just using that movie and not taking their children to understand the history and research and know the both sides. No, because a lot of people don't even know about the Doheny. Right? They already did them in the Black Panther movie because that's what they're based on. The Dora Milaje is based on the Doheny. So now when the Doheny's out, they want to tell this story and not the true story. And people who don't know about the Doheny don't want to hear it because this represents us. This is Black excellence. This is who we are. This is what we need. Okay, so I'm expecting you to go into a school and learn some martial arts now. That's what I'm expecting. Learn some jiu-jitsu, some MMA, some Bojuka, some Krav Maga. Go learn to kick butt so that way I can kick back. You and I in a restaurant, somebody come up and start shit with me. You get up and you beat their ass. You pull out your spear, you start going. That's what I'm expecting. Because if you're taking away from black women that nurturing femininity, that part of, baby, I can lead and I can rule. Okay, how? Well, I'm gonna beat everybody up. Do you understand?
And like I said, I sincerely understand what you're saying, but literally I'm thinking about this in the water thing. You didn't see the movie, right?
No, I will not support it.
And it's just so many parts, and I don't want to fucking ruin it for everybody.
No, but you don't have to.
Yeah, it's so many parts, and it's not. I just don't think it's what you think it is. Now the historical inaccuracy, I cannot argue.
No, it's exactly what I know it is. It's not what I think it is. Listen, everyone's getting the entertainment confused with the true story, and they're thinking that.
The thing for me is I'm not the historical accuracy versus the topic of this.
It's not even about that. It's not even about the history. No, it's not even about that.
Was your question out at the beginning as far as our relationship or the failure or the lack thereof, the strength with the black relationship?
How did we get to this point? Right. Yes.
Like using the example of how we Black women are depicted and the strength of us and whatever. For example, if we use the woman king as an example, does it have bearing on the lack of the Black unit? Correct?
No.
I'm not talking about that's not the point of
No,
this.
not at all.
What is the point?
I use the woman king as an example to show exactly what's being done by institutionalized racism at the top
Okay.
as a means, because that's how we got here. We got here through media displaying to us who we should be.
Okay.
That's why I showed you. Go look it up. The feminist movement, right? They pulled Black women into that. Black women never had a problem before that. What's her name? The queen. She's the African historian. Light skinned. Where's the crowns? What's her name?
Right now?
Yeah, she's still alive. She talks about feminine.
Oh, are you talking about Shahrazad Ali?
Shahrazad
Ali.
Shahrazad Ali. Look her up and listen to her sermons. She breaks it down in such a way that most women start crying because they realize that they've been hoodwinked and bamboozled.
You should buy her books also. She has multiple books, but her two most important books to me, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman and The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. They're roughly $32 total on Amazon. I believe if you're a Black person, you should buy both of those books and read. It hurts. It feels like somebody's looking into my soul. Somebody who's never met me, understanding my plight just in reading the book. Definitely worth a read if you haven't read it. Both of those books.
To understand why we got where we got. That they chose this tribe. They chose what they chose to tell a story. They didn't go find. They could have made up a white team of people, white women, and said, one of my favorite films is Sucker Punch with Zack Snyder. That's one of my favorite films. My brother too. We watched that film over and over and over again. You know why? Because there's some badass chicks fighting in it.
Okay.
And in the end of the film, the house mother tells the girl, she says, you have everything you need. You're a woman. Now fight. And what happens is the girl enters into this dream state where she's fighting, literally physically fighting in order to overcome her circumstances.
Yeah.
With that being said, as badass as these women are, I mean, they're killing men, they're killing everything, right? Dragons, they're killing dragons, everything. When they come back, you get an idea of, what they were using was their woman lures, their lures, their femininity, the strength of their allurement. Just like the strongest women on the planet back during the biblical days were all women that were next to the king. The story of King Herod. King Herod, his daughter, his stepdaughter, he was so enthralled by her, anything she wanted, she could get. She told that man, she said, go get me the head of John the Baptist, and he did it. That's power. Not just knocking a man upside the head. Yeah, self-defense, absolutely. I've trained women who trained with me for 6 years. They could handle Suge Knight. Trust that. Because there's a story about that, and it's a true story. One of my students poked him in the eye in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay? And took him down, believe it or not. But that's besides the point. Every woman is not going to get up there and pick up a sword. So there's other strength that has to happen that in order for them to bring into the relationship that understanding of the dynamics of who she is, all the different parts of who she is as a woman, just like a man. He has to understand the different parts that he's going to bring into the relationship. Now women are what? I don't need a man. I got this.
Yep, not me. But I understand your point.
Right, but you see what I'm saying? But you understand that, and so my point was how I showed all of that stuff to show how we got where we got. And how we continue to stay in a perpetual state of no growth. And it's because media, stuff like that. That's just the truth of it. Bruce Carlton said, but some will pick up the sword, and the movie is about the women who did. Yes, absolutely. Listen, Bruce, we're not discounting the film. I'm not boycotting it. I'm not saying boycott it. I ain't doing none of that. I see how it's affecting people. Great. But if you end up taking a 15 or younger child to this movie, I'm putting it on you, your responsibility, to take that child to the library and teach them the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You tell the truth. That's what I said on my Facebook. But people want to take it to something else because they got offended. Like, we need this movie. Who needs this movie? I don't need that movie. I don't need that movie. I watch, one of my favorite films of all time is Aliens. I love me some Aliens. She got that gun and she great. But she was a mother at the same time. And she had youth. Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen the movie, but you're arguing the historical inaccuracies. How?
Just from the analysis that many people have put online already. It's all online. All of it. All of it is online. B for B, step. Yeah, no. It's a great question. See, yeah, but this is what becomes the problem. If I take my money out my pocket and I go and watch it and it ends up being exactly what I know it's going to be, I've supported that film. That's the illogical aspect of people saying, well, how would you know if you ain't watched it? Well, guess what? I never forget when Harriet came out, I had an issue with Harriet, right? Beat for beat, note for note, all the things about the film. I didn't watch it. I didn't go to the theater to support it at all. It came out, I watched it online, okay? Exactly what I knew it was going to be. If you got a character named Bigger Long, that in itself sounds like a goddamn porn star. Bigger Long. And I know the actor that played that part. A black slave catcher named Bigger Long that said, I'm going to go kill that bitch Harriet so I can get some money and get me some white women.
Yeah.
And then beat the hell out of her best friend. And neither one of those characters exists. There's an agenda. And you have to accept it. As angry as it may make you, as hurt as you may feel that it makes you feel different about the film, you have to accept that. Why? Because you have to fight for your community. I fight for black people when they don't even want to fight for themselves.
I like to call to attention. There's a certain burden with journalism, and if we're giving our stances, offering perspective, it needs to be a full circle perspective. I think that that's fair to the viewers.
Yeah.
I can get the movie. I'm not gonna say how. I don't support piracy or any of those things, but I can get the movie. And I think that we should watch it so that we can actually give a well-informed and well-rounded perspective on it. Because there may be good and bad in the movie, And you know me, I don't watch movies because I don't care. But I think it's important because this is such a huge topic. And I mean, we're going on hours about this. It's important that we definitely go ahead and actually give it a watch.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Love
Thank
you,
you.
Vanessa. Thank you for chiming in.
I love you too, baby. Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I think we should watch it. It's fair to the viewers to watch it.
Hey guys,
Alex Hampton, what's up,
What's
brother?
going on?
what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, we're in it tonight, man. We're in the hot seat tonight.
I see.
Please chime in.
Huh?
Please definitely give us your perspective, what you feel.
So I had a question.
Sure.
I kind of agree with everything that's been said, but I was wondering, would you say you would take the same approach when they came out with Black Panther?
No, I mentioned that previously with Black Panther. It is fiction. It is fiction. So with a fiction,
Like, I meant it in terms of like the Dora Milaje, because a lot of the Dora Milaje were kind of based off, from what I read, were based off
Yeah, they were totally based off the Doheny. The issue is that the Dora Milaje and the Doheny are two different tribes. Even if they were based on them, they're two different tribes. If you look at the Doheny, the Dora Milaje, remember she had a husband, whereas the Doheny, they weren't allowed to have husbands. They were husbands to the king. So that's why. Listen, I love Black Panther, and I know people who personally hated the movie for specific reasons. They felt like it was programming as well, which there was some in there, but it wasn't to the extent of what this movie is. This movie is a total fabrication of facts, of things that didn't happen compared to things that did happen. So when you're dealing with fantasy, you can get away with a lot. You can get away. You can get, and actually, the person that wrote the script was Black.
Right.
That makes a huge difference. I mean, we have to be honest. Listen, I'm not going to go and write a screenplay and direct a feature about the Jewish Holocaust.
Right.
I would never presume to be that arrogant to do something like that. No.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? And so I know my place and my involvement. The Black Panther film, the reason why there was such listen, when I watched it, I said, this movie's gonna make over $1 billion. People looked at me like, you're stupid or what? I said, no. It's because you're servicing a deprived culture. You're servicing a deprived culture. Now, the problem with the Black community right now is everything that comes out that's Black, they're going to support it, even if it's wrong.
Right.
And that's a problem. Because what happens is like, you're not building or you're not fixing the issues anymore. Now you're just saying, hey, we Black and we proud, that's it.
Right. And I feel that because I agree with some of the movies. Like, a lot of the movies that Tyler Perry puts out,
it's trash. Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
But there's a lot of content that he puts out that I can't personally identify with as a Black man because that doesn't fit my narrative nor a lot of Black people that I meet. But it's funny that you brought that up. I wanted to ask with the approach that they're taking with Wakanda Forever, where it could be a woman. That's now. I know how much you love Black Panther, Alex. Trust me when I tell you that. Right.
And people saw the agenda off the first trailer. You have the total dismissal of the Black male patriarchy gone. You have Black versus Latin.
Right.
Black versus, because Namor wasn't Mexican or Aztec or whatever they're using. He wasn't that.
Right. He was an alien.
He was almost an alien, pretty much. So now you're seeing that there's a lot of things happening in which the reason why they didn't recast him. No, there wasn't such a big uproar for people to say don't recast him. There wasn't. A lot of people was like, hey, it's whatever. You know, we love Chadwick and everybody had an issue with him passing, of course. But people weren't in the street saying, don't recast T'Challa, don't recast Chadwick. They weren't. That's why you see so many people.
It was the directors that said that they were going to leave it at that out of respect for him.
Sure, and that's fine. But now you got to deal with the ramifications of people noticing that there is an agenda. There's an agenda.
Because I will say, I love the first trailer, but I will say, watching it like maybe about 4 or 5 times, like the only male that's being represented that we saw was M'Baku, but he didn't say anything.
Yeah,
there were like a few seconds.
Yeah, no dialogue.
Right, and like I get it, like I get that we're in a different, I guess, era where Black women in particular should definitely be represented, but I do feel as though, like I agree, I don't want to watch the Woman King because I know what the history is.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to tell a fictional story based off real characters doesn't seem real to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand the points that are being made, but I also kind of see where Janessa's going from. I kind of got where, like, okay, you know how white people they have Wonder Woman, right? But what do Black women have,
right?
Aside from your Black Panther character,
right?
Like,
Well,
Black
let me.
women don't really look at.
But let me speak on that. Let me speak on that as well, because I'm a film buff, and so I've been watching movies forever, and I never saw a lack of Black women in action films or in horror films and stuff, being a hero, being the one to survive to the end. Jada Pinkett was in a movie called Dark Knight, Demon Knight. And she lasted at the end. She outsmarted the demon and everything. And it was awesome. And then you have someone like Sanaa Lathan. A lot of the women in the 90s were the ones to survive to the end. And then all of a sudden there's this movement of we ain't seeing enough representation. It's like, what movies were y'all not seeing? Because that comes on the heels of white women saying, we're not seeing, we need more films with white women being the action star. And it's like, what movies? What? I got 5 of them in my library right now where I'll watch them over and over again. Where is this coming from? It started with the Me Too movement. And see, once again, going back to our subject matter, Black women are always pulled into these feminist movements by white women. And they have to stand up and say, stop using us. You don't have the right to use. I know filmmakers who have amazing action films starring Black women and period pieces based on the Nubian Empire and fictional stuff. There's Kay, her film that she got a series that she wants to do, and I was part of the reading, and I'm like, why won't they greenlight this? Where they show everybody, it's kind of like an African Game of Thrones. It's amazing, but it doesn't fit the agendas. It doesn't fit the narrative they want to tell.
So my last question is, because this is actually very interesting. Would you say there would be an agenda for them casting Haley?
Oh, your hour hit. That was trash.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, we got to convert your account, man.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Just a moment. Actually, so we have a question really quick from Lay the Muse. As an actress myself, how do you break the typecast? Because I just got a scene where I can show femininity, but of course, it's ghetto.
Play the hell out that role, Lay. Play the hell out of it until you become a character, until you become an actor that is known to be able to show up. Okay, so you could
make it more than they expected it to be.
Absolutely. There you go. Very good. Yes. Yeah. Make it more than what they expect it to be. Play the hell out of it. Bring a character to it and make it more. I love how he said that. Make it more than what they expect it to be. And enjoy that role and humanize that character.
Who is
that's Alex.
Alex.
Take
okay.
him on that side. Yes. Okay, Alex, sorry about that.
Just a moment, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, play that role and make it undeniable.
Absolutely. And if you have any other questions, Lay, please, because that's important.
I don't even see you on here. I can barely hear you and I cannot see you. There is no maybe drop out and come back in. I don't know why it's doing that. We can barely hear you and we can't see you.
Okay, have him come back to me.
Yeah, or just jump back to the other side. They said they can hear and see him. Yeah, we don't even see him over here. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, just another.
You got to go back live.
Yeah, we got to figure that out. Okay.
Or jump in one more time if he's still on there.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Alex, let's go to the other side. So, with that being said, because we've been talking a lot about movies, that wasn't the agenda tonight or the objective. Your thoughts on how we can get better in regards to the Black male and female dynamic of the relationships. What do you think has to happen?
What is it that's going to overhaul our current state together? I think that there's a huge responsibility on the individual to...
1 second, Alex. Yeah, 1 second.
Oh,
yes,
I mean, this is something I firmly believe. We can come back to it. Get his last question out.
Okay, Alex, what was your last question again? Let's pick it up. Alex?
Y'all can hear me now?
Yes, we hear you. Yes.
Okay, cool. So my last question was, do you feel as though there is an agenda with race swapping the Ariel character with Haley Bailey, and why do you feel feel that way in particular because I mean I see it and I have a little daughter. She loved the trailer, whatever. But it's me personally, it's a mermaid. It's not real, so there isn't a historical element of mermaids our world. So I just think that's that's fiction for me. Now, yeah, I would have a problem if they made Black Panther white because that just doesn't line up. But making Ariel black or blue or purple or whatever, that just doesn't matter to me.
Well, that's a contradiction. Go ahead.
That gets into representation. I believe representation is an entire agenda. The issue there is that we already have characters. Why are they not utilizing the characters that we already have? I think that's the biggest issue there. We don't need their characters, and I don't think that they need to take our characters and make them white, which they already are doing and have been doing for years.
Yeah.
But I don't see the benefit of us getting characters that already existed because it creates a divide wherein the general consumer is not looking to support a black usurper of sorts taking a white character. And I think that's an issue. So if we had our own characters just like they did Black Panther, I think that would have went over much, much better, and it would have been much better for black children.
Yeah, and you're going to get the support.
Because the fantasy world is for the kids. It don't got shit to do with us.
Right. But they've made it political. It's political.
That's because adults are bored, but that's a whole nother conversation for me.
And they know that it's going to stir up the pot, and that's why they're doing it. And so instead of people co-signing it or applauding it, black girl magic and yes, Queen Slay, say no. No, we have other stories that we like to be told. When they came out with the Superman, Michael B. Jordan, I was like, I thought he was a fool for taking Human Torch. I was like, why would you? Like, what's the point? Like, what are you? It's sloppy seconds, man.
There's plenty of black characters.
Plenty. That's why I did
plenty who are even unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have did Icon.
Icon is dope.
Yeah. Blue Marvel. They got so many that they could have done.
Mr. Millennium.
My God. It goes on and on and on and on and on. But the race swapping, and that's on both ends. It's not just, you see what's going on with Marvel, sex swapping, villains and characters with females and stuff. It's all about contention. It's all to make people be uncomfortable so they can have something to talk about. I mean,
I don't even think it's that. I think they're using the whole representation thing as just a way to generate more money.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like because that's the clickbait. That's an easy way to get people to talk about your
controversy
project.
Creates cash.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm totally in agreement with you on that. And so I don't know what the future is going to hold. Like I put something up on Facebook and Instagram saying that I remember there was a time when I could watch a fantasy film and not be stressed about whether it's somebody black in it or not. I remember the first black elf that I saw was in Dungeons and Dragons. Nobody said nothing about it back then. It was a horrible film, but nobody said anything about the black elf why is there a black elf in Dungeons and Dragons? Like nobody cared. Why now? That's what people have to ask. Why now? Like why now? Like when you say, okay, Black Panther. All right, and you look at he held the title of Black Panther for a long time. He was actually the leader of the Avengers at one point, West Coast Avengers.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Why, and everybody's like, oh, well, in the comics, sure, he took the mantle on. Yeah, but that was a long time before she took that mantle. Why now?
It was like in her late 20s.
Yeah, and she didn't do a great job. I mean, think about it. On her watch, Namor flooded. Just like they're showing. Yeah, Wakanda. Yeah. Not that her being a woman makes a difference. It's just that why you have to ask, and I think people are so comfortable. You said it. They're comfortable.
Yeah.
They black people back in the civil rights movement would always ask, what's behind that? Or during the Jim Crow.
What is there? Why are they just giving us that?
Why a white person want to give me something? When has a white person ever give me anything? You know what I'm saying? They would ask that. There'd be that one guy stand up in the church. Why that white people coming through here?
Because what poison does it come with? Is this one of those Black Plague blankets? You know what I'm saying? We just supposed to accept it because they finally gave it to us? Fuck that.
Is it another syphilis, movement?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Hell no, man.
Yeah. So I agree with you 100%. So yeah, thanks. Appreciate you, man. And
anytime.
well, you let me know. I know you're gonna do your Black Panther thing, man. You let me know how it goes. I'm not supporting that one. But I mean, honestly, because they jacked up Namor. I was through. Like, okay, all right, I want to move. Okay, want to move him to Child. Okay, Namor. No. I'm from a different era. I remember the cartoon. So yeah, I'm good. Right. I'm good. Checking all the boxes.
Let you know what I think about it.
Yeah, I know you will. You're gonna review it. You're gonna go into the dashiki. You're gonna do what you do. Oh no, it's all white now. Everybody going in all white. So yeah, okay.
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, I'm glad I can be on the show, guys.
And by the way, Alex, too, kudos to you for being an amazing father and husband. See, this is what I'm talking about. When you look at like this brother right here, who I know personally, and I know his dynamics with his family, an amazing father, an amazing husband, and someone who is very big in helping the Black community. That's what I'm calling attention to people. That's what I'm holding y'all to. I'm holding y'all to that. And not saying you got to be married and have kids to make a difference. It's your job to work to build your community. And that's what Change Your Mind, Change Your Thinking is all about. So yeah, thank you. Yeah. Appreciate you, brother.
Anytime. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. You too. So the solutions.
Yeah, solutions. Your thoughts. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. So I believe that the responsibility is on the individual. Mm-hmm. Black people, again, like I was saying earlier, I mentor so many different people. And one of the things that I constantly have to tell them and remind them of, you have the entire world in your hands. That means therapy. That means understanding what it is that you're going through and what you're dealing with. That means finding out how to do more than just be where you are and what you are. So I believe that responsibility is on the Black individual, the Black couple, to sit and figure out what exactly it is that's wrong. And it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be broadcasted to the world. I don't think that any more of our issues need to be an international discussion. Mm-hmm. It needs to be a private discussion within the community, within the household, within the neighborhood, just among us. And we need to stop letting other people in to give their opinions and offer their solutions for our problems. Mm-hmm. We haven't come up with any solutions for our problems. And I do believe that it's time that we did that. Yeah. So that means the media you consume, what you put in your body, what you do every day, what your habits and your routines are. You need to change those for the betterment of the relationship that you either have or wish to have, mm-hmm. especially if children are involved or children are to be involved. Mm-hmm. That's my solution.
Yeah, I think Black people in general need to step up, and they need to uphold their accountability, and we need to have a higher level of understanding. I think a lot of it is they don't understand how we got here. That's kind of why I started up the show with all that information. Yeah. If you understand how you got somewhere, then you'll know your way to get back. And I think what's happening is that there's this finger pointing, oh, Black men ain't shit. Oh, Black women, they ain't nothing but bitches and hoes. And it's like, okay, when you do that, you're taking away from each other, number one. Number two, you have to stop putting on each other these unattainable objectives. Start if people they get with each other and then they feel like, okay, I can make you be what I want you to be. And that's not how the world works. It doesn't work that way. You have to get with someone that not is going to just help you be better, right? But someone that's going to accentuate and enhance what you already have. So if you go out and you lay down with a dog, you're going to come up with fleas. If you lay down with somebody who accentuates, they doing their thing, you doing your thing, you come together, you got more. And that's what we need as a community. We need to understand that. We need to hold ourselves accountable and hold each other accountable. I firmly believe that. And it starts, for me, it's with media. That's always been my battle. But with Black couples in collective, you mentioned it, the therapy is very big. Respect, and understanding, really understanding. A lot of, we mentioned it in the previous show, a lot of men have been molested and raped. Women would never know because they don't have a forum to talk about it. So here this woman is laying next to this man and she don't know why he's freaking out some days. It's like, oh, he's got stuff going on. Oh, and by the way, it is never your job to handle someone else's luggage.
Correct. That's why I said together.
Together, yeah. You
either individually or together.
Yeah. Oh man, it goes back to Samwise Gamgee. We're gonna end it off on this, guys, because let's get your song ready. Samwise Gamgee on the side of the volcano with Mr. Frodo. They're sitting there and they're looking to remember what the Shire was like, and he says, "I can't remember. I don't remember anything." And Samwise said, "Let's get rid of this ring. Let's get rid of it." And he goes, picks up Frodo and throws him over his shoulder. He says, I can't carry this ring, Mr. Frodo, but I can carry you. And he marches up that volcano, man. And to me, that film holds endearment to me of what it is in true friendship, because they weren't how it is in a marriage or in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend. But when you have that understanding, it just makes a world of a difference. My name is Troy Skinner. I'm your host.
Antonio Dean, co-host.
And this is Change Your Mind, Change Your Thinking. We went over tonight, but it was worth it. Thursday, we'll be back. We have a great show that we're going to be going over with you guys. Please make sure you like, subscribe, share everything.
And comment. All of those things.
All of it. If this episode pissed you off, let us know. If you agree with us, let us know. If you got a topic you want to discuss, or if you want to be on the next show, let us know.
Always feel free to join in, and shout out to Lay the Muse for an extreme amount of involvement. We didn't really get to her today, but many more shows in the future.
Lay the Muse next this Thursday coming is your show, so make sure you hit us early. We get you in, and go and kick ass on that audition and book that role.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I used to tell all of my that's free advice. That's $1,000 worth of advice you're getting. You can play that role 5 times in a row before people notice who you are. It's the 4th time that they'll see you in that role. Look at Taraji P. Henson's career in the beginning, and you'll see she played Ghetto Girl for like 7 roles before she got her big role.
Freaking, what is that? Baby Boy is still one of her biggest.
I loved her in Baby Boy.
That was a great movie. That shit was hella ghetto, but it
wasn't
great.
Hell, but it was great.
It was a great movie.
All right, guys. We love you, and take care. God bless.
Everybody.
Yeah.